very long. So first off, I know you didn't coach Wood well at UGA. He was kind of a little before your time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure you still have a relationship with him. Obviously, him being an alum, and I know he's come back from time to time. So first off, what's kind of your relationship like with him?
Yeah, I've become really close with Alex. We stay in touch throughout the season, and he's come back in the off season. He loves Georgia. He loves being in Athens. He'll come in for a football game or a basketball game, but he'll come by the field and talk to the fellows. And I mean, he just loves this place and is still a big part of our program.
What I guess I heard about when the pandemic started. He was somebody that you reached out to talk to your guys. What kind of inspired that?
Well, again, just what do you do when you get put in a tough situation? Our guys are kind of on their own, and what do I do to get better during this downtime? And the big leaguers were going through the same thing. So, I wanted Alex, a guy that all of our players look up to just to talk to our guys and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what, my fellow teammates are doing. This is what other big leaguers are doing right now, just to give our guys some motivation to continue to work hard, but also to hear from someone that used to be in their shoes not too long ago.
What was some of the advice that he gave your guys on? Was that a Zoom call? How did that work?
Yeah, it was a Zoom, and he took some questions from the guys, but more than anything, it was just motivation. Just hey man, you got to work hard. There's a lot of really good players out there. Everybody wants to be a big leaguer, and only a select few get to be there. So, just maximizing your time, making sure that you're doing things the right way on and off the field to give yourself the best chance to get there was the main message. But he was really good. Enjoy your time was another message. He said, hey, make sure that you enjoy your time in college, because once you get out, it's like when you're in any kind of situation, you always look ahead. Man, I can't wait till I get to that point. But excuse me, then you look back and then you wish you were there again. So I think that was another message that, hey, enjoy your time and value your time in Athens, Georgia.
And he's somebody, like, when he speaks, you kind of want to listen because he's been through so much and he's gone through highs and lows. Is that kind of why you wanted to let your guys hear from him, just that wealth of knowledge he has now?
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, it hasn't been easy for him. He's gone through a major surgery, and he went through the doubt of, he's got the irregular delivery, and, he gets drafted, and immediately people try to change him because it just looks different. It doesn't look the same as everybody else, but that's what's made him so good, because he's unique. And he's been, an outstanding pitcher in college. He's been an outstanding at the big league level. He's been just great everywhere he's been, and he's overcome some adversity. And that's part of, being successful in life, is you have to overcome some adversity. So I thought that was a good message for our guys.
Does he ever turn to you for advice on any of that stuff?
Not really. No, I mean, I talked to him last night, right before the game, just to congratulate him for making the roster, because you just never know what's going to happen. So I sent him a text, and he must have had his phone, like all of us. He must have had his phone right with him. He got right back to me, and he was excited, to be on the roster. Hopes he gets to pitch. And, his message was, hey, it's time to get a ring. And so he's pumped up to be a part of the World Series, and we're all excited for him.
And I assume that, he came in those back-to-back days in the NLCS. I would assume the Dodgers would use him in some kind of role in this World Series. But what would you kind of define his role right now? I don't know how closely you followed his career or this season, but, back in the bullpen, where would you kind of define what his job is right now?
Well, I think right now it's just to kind of keep things where they are, whether they're winning, 6-2 or losing 6-2, is to kind of keep it right there. He's been injured this year. He kind of came in late. So, getting that defined role, everyone by this time has a role, and just to have a role on a World Series team is a big deal. But, he might be a matchup lefty guy. He's got that good changeup that he can face right-handers now that they have to face three hitters. But right now it's, if they get a lead, I think he's a guy that you can put in that's reliable, that's going to throw strikes and compete for you. And if you're behind, he's a guy that you can put in to kind of keep you there and keep your team in the game.
I've always been curious, kind of, especially when pitchers go through injuries and sometimes they're forced to go kind of back to the bullpen. How kind of emotional is that for a pitcher? I mean, you look back at his 2017 year and he was on top of the world, and he's back with the Dodgers now and he's made that World Series roster. But I figure that must be kind of emotional, as far as where am I in my career? Am I stuck now here, or how do I get past this?
Well, I think guys like Alex and most pitchers have been through it, unless you're an absolute superstar. A lot of guys have, been demoted. Maybe they were the 3-starter and they went back to the 5-starter, or now all of a sudden, John Smoltz went from a starter to a closer. And it's just a change in mentality. But also, if you're a competitor, you're going to find a way to get things done. And, no matter what your job is, when you get to that point, being a professional is getting your job done. Whatever job is given to you, you get your job done. And if you really want a better job, if you want a better spot, if Alex wants to be back in the rotation, he knows that he's got to get his current job done to get an opportunity to get back in that rotation. I fully expect him to be in a rotation next year. And I'm not sure where his contract is. I really don't know if he's coming back with the Dodgers, if he's a free agent. I don't know that off the top of my head. But I fully expect him to be competing for a rotation spot in the big leagues next year.
And it kind of, if the Dodgers were to win the World Series, it kind of makes me think of the Cubs. I know it's not quite that dramatic of a drought, but I feel like a lot of these guys will be kind of go down in Dodger history. What would that mean for a guy like him, who struggled, but he gets that ring and he's a part of something that's, it's going to be a worldwide story if it happens.
Yeah, that's what you dream about when you put on the uniform. When you play Little League, you dream about playing in the World Series, and Alex Wood is playing in the World Series, and it's a thrill. I know it's a thrill for him. It's a thrill for his family. It's a thrill for us, as Georgia Bulldogs to watch him, to wear that uniform and to be there. I know most Georgia Bulldog fans are also Atlanta Braves fans, so that made it a little bit tough. And I think, like true Georgia fans, we were all rooting for Alex. I wanted the Braves to win. I was rooting for the Braves, and I think a lot of people were. But we wanted to see Alex do well. And if you're a Georgia fan, you're excited that Alex Wood gets to pitch in the World Series, and probably disappointed the Braves aren't there. But we're all happy for Alex.
So you wouldn't be upset if he returned to Atlanta?
Oh, not at all. I think that's true Georgia fans that are Braves fans. They would love to see Alex Wood back here, just like I think we'd all love to see Emerson Hancock and Cole Wilcox at some point come back to Atlanta. That would be great. But, those guys have careers of their own. But I think that's the ideal situation. You look at Todd Gurley now with the Falcons. I mean, that is the perfect scenario for a Georgia fan that's also a Falcons fan. You get to root for, your favorite from college, but also now he's in the NFL or Major League Baseball, whatever sport. It's great to see.
And the Braves have been a little bit more willing than maybe the Falcons to pick up guys who are from Georgia or have been to Georgia. What's your relationship like with the Braves? Because it does seem like every year you've got somebody going to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, Brian Snitker was in the organization. He's been in the organization for 40 plus years. Back when I played, he was one of my coaches. So I'm familiar with a lot of their coaching staff, and they've come over to watch football games when their season has ended in the past, and they've come over to watch practice. Walt Weiss, when he was with the Rockies, actually came over to visit us to see the things that we're doing. So we've got a very good relationship with the Braves and their front office and their scouting department. And they get to see us play a lot. And just like all major league teams, they come in to watch us practice, watch us scrimmage, watch us play. But the Braves probably see us more than anybody.
Just one or two more. When going back to kind of Wood, obviously you always respect your alma mater or where you've been, but he could go off and be Mr. Hollywood right now, but he still is, grounded and knows kind of who he is. What does that just say about him, but also about, what UGA is able to do as far as producing talent like him?
Well, anyone that knows Alex knows, what kind of kid he is. I mean, he is just a really, really good person, cares about his family, cares about his alma mater, loves Athens, loves Georgia, loves to be a part of it. And he's not going to go Hollywood. There's no question about it. It's just like anybody, when you get a taste of that, it's a lot of fun to be a part of it. But he is a very humble, very grounded person, really smart, and just all around good person. And I think it's very, very good to have someone like that respects everything and everyone around him. And it's a great look for our program as well.
Do you know if he'd like to come back closer to the East Coast at some point?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I know his family's over here and his parents love to watch him pitch. It's a little tougher when they're out west, but you know what, when you get in the big leagues, you want to be in the big leagues. And being in LA, being on that kind of team, I know he enjoys it there. He enjoys his teammates and he's having the time of his life and he's in the World Series. So, you know, I'm sure that he would love to be in Atlanta, but I know he's loving being an LA Dodger right now.
When did you first meet Alex?
Right when I got the job, he reached out, congratulated me, and just said, you know, he was still in the minor leagues at that time, but you know, hey coach, if you need something, you know, please let me know, and can I come back and work out? And you know, one of those things. A lot of pro players come back in the off season to spend time in Athens. So, you know, I've developed a relationship with all those guys, and you know, they love Georgia. I mean, I think that's the common bond that if you've gone to the University of Georgia, you spent time in Athens, you know why it's such a great place to be, and that's where it started. Alex just coming back, coming to football games, you know, maybe helping him out with a ticket now and then. Anything we can do to help him out, we've done that. But we've developed a good relationship, and like I said, we just talked yesterday, and you know, I just wished him luck, was excited for him, and he certainly is excited to get in there and pitch in the World Series.
Last one for you. You mentioned his kind of funky delivery, and that's something he's always had. Have you ever talked to him about that, or have you ever given him advice, even as recently as, you know, the last few days or weeks, as far as his pitches or why he sticks to that delivery?
No, I mean, it's worked for him. I mean, again, it's unique to him, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that's one of the things that sometimes we're guilty of as baseball coaches. If something looks a little bit out of the ordinary, sometimes we try to fix it to make it look normal. Well, you know, maybe that normal is different for us than it is for them. And this is Alex's normal. This is what he's always done. It's always been a little bit different. When you see it for the first time, you kind of go, man, that looks a little bit funny. But then you see the results, you know, why change it? So absolutely not. He needs to stick with what has gotten Alex Wood to where it's gotten him, which is in the World Series.
Awesome. Anything I didn't touch on that you wanted to?
No, I think we're good.
Cool. Awesome.